Brooklyn Peltz-Beckham has broken his silence about his estrangement from his parents, saying he doesn't want to reconcile with his family. In a statement shared on Instagram, the 26-year-old claims he's been silent for years, adding he's not being controlled, but is standing up for himself for the first time in his life. Our correspondent Paul Kelso found David Beckham at today's World Economic Forum in Davos.
David, do you have a message for Brooklyn this morning? David, you disappointed family business is being aired in public?
Well, whilst Sir David Beckham didn't comment to Paul there or directly about the controversy during an interview with CNBC about his global sports programme partnership, he did say that sometimes parents have to let their children make mistakes on social media.
I've always spoke about, social media and the power of social media, for the good and for the bad. The bad we've talked about with what kids can access these days, and it can be dangerous. But what I've found personally, especially with my kids as well, use it for the right reasons. I've been able to use my platform and my following, for UNICEF. And it's been the biggest tool to make people aware of what's going on around the world for children. And I've tried to do the same. I've tried to do the same with my children to educate them. They make mistakes. Children are allowed to make mistakes. That's how they learn. So that's what I try to teach my kids. But, you have to sometimes let them make those mistakes as well.
Well, was he referring to this statement on Instagram, where Brooklyn said, "I do not want to reconcile with my family. I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life." He even claimed that his mother, Lady Victoria, cancelled plans to make Nicola's gown at the last minute and hijacked the couple's first dance at their wedding, saying, "In the schedule, it was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mum was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life." And he mentions his father, Sir David's 50th birthday, saying that although the couple travelled to London to try to spend quality time with him, he refused all of our attempts unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner, under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. Well, Laura Beeching, the founder of the crisis management agency Honest London, said she'd be surprised if the Beckhams say anything else about the row, given how big their brand image is.
I mean, there's clearly upset behind the scenes, and of course there will be. It's their son. But publicly, the Beckham name now operates as a commercial architecture and not just a surname. And that architecture is extremely strong. So the Beckhams have decades of goodwill, global recognition, a fan base that spans generations. Their recent Netflix documentary were a massive global hit and reinforced stable, emotionally controlled, likeable image of a family. So unfortunately, when Beckham positioned himself in versions of events against that, that simply implies that the public, and by extension the fans, are kind of being fooled a little bit by years of press interviews, documentaries, and that's not going to get a very positive response in the most part for him.
So are you saying, therefore, that the image that his parents have developed over the course of time may stand the test of this kind of public breakdown in relations that are being alleged and appear to be the case so far?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with Brooklyn, unfortunately, he doesn't have the most positive reputation as it is. I mean, he's been labelled sort of a Nepo child, changing careers often from a photographer, next thing to a chef. And, it's going to take a lot for him to beat the Beckham machine, essentially.
Just thinking, though, conversation is a two-way thing. We've not heard from the other side of this alleged situation, as Brooklyn Beckham puts it forward. What is the likelihood, and if so, what would you advise them to say, that David and Victoria come out on record to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, silence is definitely key here. So anything more than a minimal response risks sort of reinforcing what Brooklyn's argument is, that everything is managed and strategic. So at most, one line, like, we all love our children deeply and it remains a private family matter. So I would suggest no explanation, no rebuttal, no expansion, because over-explaining would most definitely cause backfire. As you can see in Brooklyn's very long statement, it's very emotional. And my thing with my clients is less is more when it comes to statements, because every extra word you put into a statement, that's another thing that people can analyse and dissect, and they will. Like even down to the sort of the wedding dress comment that he put out, people have already disputed that with what was written in Vogue back in 2022, I believe. And that's the issue when you go too detailed. So I would be very shocked if the Beckhams speak out on this.